Thanks everyone for joining us. Today we're going to do a little bit of a longer demo. It shouldn't be like crazy long, but I'd say we got a good hour's worth of entertainment. Thanks so much for spending your sunshiny day watching us. We're going to be making Murrine. And so first, we're going to take some glass, load up a bunch of colors, and pull it really long. Maybe you see there is a ladder behind me. Then, if we were using that Murrine in this demo, we would kind of chop it up like you'd cut up sushi and then roll it up. We're not going to use the Murrine that we're pulling today in the demo because I have some really fancy Murrine already hot in the annealer right now. And I have a little paperweight with that Murrine. I did do a post earlier today. So it's really vibrant and colorful, and I'm really excited to play with it with you all today. But I thought that watching the process of pulling the Murrine is just as fun as watching the process of rolling up the Murrine. So to pull Murrine, we use a solid rod. The glass won't stick to it unless it's hot. So it's been preheating, but I got a little bit of soot on it, so I'm gonna clear it all off. And as I go through this, I'll do a little introductions too. This demo is gonna be a little long, so I don't wanna waste a whole bunch of your time dilly-dallying, standing around and talking, so I'll multitask. My furnace is 2,200 degrees. Inside is clear glass. I've got some clear glass right here. And I'm not going to make a super large Murrine pull, so this will be the size of my first layer. I'm now rolling in some yellow glass called Spritz. So this color is canary yellow. I rolled in it, I'm going to heat it up, and I'm going to roll in it and heat it up some more, just to make sure the color stays really dense. While I'm going through this process, for the people that have never watched our live videos before, welcome. We are so excited to have you. My name is Dominique. Everyone calls me Dom. And my mom, Anne-Marie Casey, is joining me today. We own this studio space here in Jaffrey, New Hampshire, which is right at the base of Mount Monadnock. I don't care. Prior to COVID, we were open to the public all the time. We always did free tours and demos. We got a retail store, but now we're really enjoying the private life. So you'll see that we've become a lot more virtual friendly. Our gift shop is on our website, and we do live demos every week at 3 o'clock. Just doing different fun techniques. Sometimes we have guest artists, and it's just our way of connecting with everyone since we're not really connecting in person right now. Our gift shop is no longer ours anymore. We actually subleased it out to a really amazing woman-owned candle making company. They have gems and crystals and candles, and their name is Chaotic Lily. So they are open to the public regular hours, and we welcome you to come and check them out. I also do private classes in the flame shop. So you can, that's hot, so don't touch it. So you can come and join me. You can just leave it, please. So what I did was I went into a little metal mold, and that gave it some texture or ridges. I'll show you a bigger one. Pretty cool, right? So our yellow now has a bunch of texture on it. And yes, I know this does not look yellow at all, right? But maybe the camera will focus a little. You can see where I drop water and it cools down. That color really is yellow. Now, just like sushi, Murrine has a whole bunch of different layers. We're going to go in and get another layer. First, I need to wait till this glass is cooled down. Otherwise, I might drop the color in the furnace. And all the wonderful people that have put in orders recently might find some yucky glass in their piece, which would make them not very happy with me. So I wait till it's cold, but you can hear it is cold. Now we'll go back in. So I'm completely wrapping clear glass around our inside color. And the mold actually captures little baby bubbles. And it looks really cool. I'm going to cover it up with some color though. Maybe you can see the texture in there. Maybe the glass is just too hot. And now I'm rolling in the color that we call apple green. So I got some color, heated up. This process of making Murrine does take a lot of color. That way you can still see the color once it's been stretched out pretty long. So you gotta heat it up, roll in the color again, heat it up. I'll probably do that 2 more times. So I've been blowing glass for a little over 12 years now. And in December, we would have celebrated 9 years as a business, so quite a good accomplishment. We can say that there's a light at the end of the tunnel of the pandemic, and we officially survived the pandemic, as a lot of small businesses were not lucky enough to do that. And the reason we survived the pandemic is because of all of you. Yes, we do put a lot of hard work in, but it all pays off with your support. So we really, really appreciate you, and we appreciate all that you give us, and we wouldn't be here if it weren't for that. So we are ever so grateful. Gonna organize this glass a little, and then I think we'll go in the big mold, the star mold, which is also the mold we use to make our pumpkin stems. That way we'll have another texture layer. I do, for later, yep. So I'm gonna heat it up, drop it in the star mold, and we'll have even more texture, right? And we're gonna do just one more small layer on here. Then we're gonna pull it. So when I said we have a ladder in here, we actually have 2 ladders. We have a regular ladder, and we have what we call a cane ladder. So my mom's pulling that out, and all the black stuff on that is just little burnt marks. That's where we're gonna put our Murrine down after we're done stretching it. While I'm going through this demo, I do tend to talk a lot and answer everyone's questions. Thanks for listening to me babble. But if you have questions that I'm not answering, I am also here for that too. Or perhaps you're outside enjoying the beautiful day, or you're in a different time zone and you're watching this later. Please feel free to type questions into the comments, and I will totally get back to you. I go back and check it.
Say hi to Frank. Say hi, Tom and Mom. Love these shows.
Oh, hello, Frank. Thanks for joining us. Oh, another fun thing that I really like to do is if you're watching this and you're listening right now or to this part in the future, if you want to comment with where you're from, that has been super fun to learn about everybody in that way. I'm going back in the furnace, but I'm pretty much going to drop off all the glass that I got. So it's just a little skinny layer on top, and we'll add one more color. We had a really busy today filling orders, so the furnace is really, really low right now. And I am not complaining once more. We are just grateful. So one of the things that we're really focusing on right now is making memorials. And what we do is when you've lost a loved one, either a person or a pet, we make specialized keepsakes for you using the ashes and molten glass. And it's a little bit of an emotionally challenging process for us, just because we're connecting with all these grieving people, and then they're trusting us with their loved ones to make pieces that are really good quality and representing what they'd like. But it's also super rewarding for us. We've met so many amazing people in the process, and we all had to do a little pivot in business with COVID, and that was one of our major pivots, is focusing on creating our work and creating that work for others. And so if you have lost a loved one and want to have us make you a memorial, we have all that information right up on our website. If you're local, we also do 30-minute viewings. Like I said, that we're close to the public, but we do have a display set up, and my mom will kind of give you a tour of our stuff. You can check out the samples in real life versus on our website, and we are happy to do that personalized consultation of sorts as well, if that makes you feel more comfortable or if it helps you choose what you want to do a little more easily. The color that I'm rolling in right now, what color did we call this? It's a new red. Oh, I think we decided to call it ruby red. So the colors come from color companies with specific names, but oftentimes we kind of rename them so that our customers can understand a little bit more what the color is. Glass color often just comes with a number. This color red is a really beautiful transparent ruby red. Red is a difficult color to find in glass, and this is one that we just added, so it's pretty exciting and we like to use it for everything. Alright, so we're going to start organizing this and we'll pull it. I don't have, yeah, that's fine, yep. Want to put the gloves down there too? Yeah. Glass blowing is very much a team thing. Can you find the other big diamond shears and whatever tweezers and throw them down there too? So we got to communicate what we want. Getting ready for the next step. Ideally, a team would be 2, 3, 4 people, but with COVID, it's just been the 2 of us, so it's been a really nice way for us to get back to our roots, but it also does make a challenge because we're doing the job of many. Now, the tip of the glass gets really hot faster than the glass by the pipe because of the way that I'm heating it in the equipment. So I have a water bucket right by the camera, and I'm just dipping the tip in water. That's cooling it so I can let the heat build up in the middle. I'm trying to pull this Murrine out kind of thin so I'll be able to snip it, but if I had a wet saw, I could just pull the Murrine out almost as thick as this. It'd be more like a hamburger patty size, and I would be able to anneal it, pull it down really slow in my kiln, and slice it up with a wet saw, which would also be super fun. But because I don't have a wet saw, I need to make a plan of action that involves being able to snip it with my little snips. If you are curious about that snipping process, I did upload a short video on the Terrapin Facebook a few days ago, so you can check that out. Not super exciting, but maybe your brain isn't quite comprehending what I'm trying to articulate, so we got a visual for you there too. I'm gonna be ready soon. So with Murrine, you pull straight up and down. I pulled some cane with my friend Shane. Wanna go on the ladder? You pull that out the long way. So straight up and down is how we're gonna pull this Murrine. So my mom's going on the ladder. She's gonna hold on to this. And we'll start stretching. So gravity's helping me a little. I got some heat in here. I don't want to stretch it too fast because then it's going to get thin and noodly. I do have this bottom stuff down here that's kind of thick and cold, so I'll try to break that off. That way it doesn't pull me more than I'd like. Stuff down here also would need to be filled if I was trying to save it. Now I know I'm going to want this to break off the rod, so I need to make a couple little weak spots, telling it, please break here later, please break here later. And I got my ladder. Yeah, this is just long, hot glass. So we'll try to break it from the bottom up. Kind of snapping it. And I know this looks really dark, but like I said, this is red. I'll pick it up and show it to you in a minute. Doesn't look red, but it is. And we can kind of see our design inside. This is all stuff I could save. It's really thick, so I would need to anneal it. And I would also need to use a wet saw to cut it. So I'm just gonna put it in the trash. I'm right next to you. But the cane, or the Murrine, is still really hot. It's smoking on the wood. But maybe you can see in it a little bit. So it's yellow on the deep inside. And then there's a layer of transparent green. We call it apple green. And then on top, on the outside, the color that looks really dark is a color that we call ruby red. So here's my cane ladder. Here's my cane, or my Murrine. Pretty sweet, right? So that was just one part of the demo. I thought it's hard to appreciate the next part if you didn't see this beginning. Now, the Murrine that I found is thankfully the same kind of glass that's in the furnace, because there's a whole bunch of types of glass in the world and they all don't work together. But the Murrine I found is so fancy because it's made with multiple Murrines. So somebody will pull a whole bunch of different styles with different colors, and then they would bundle them together and then pull them again to make fancy designs. So you can keep doing that over and over again to get a lot of depth and detail inside of a piece. Now I'm gonna take a sip of water. If you got any questions, feel free to type them in. And we're gonna move on to the next part of the process.
You can see the yellow on the floor.
Yeah, I actually went in the yellow enough this time, so we really can see the yellow in the core, which I'm grateful for. Sometimes it's hard to know how much color to put in because it kind of gets lost as you stretch it. All right. So I've been admittedly probably too long organizing all these Murrine pieces because they're so pretty. And I didn't want two colors that were too similar next to each other. You want to grab the MAP gas torches. And I got them all lined up on a hot plate. And then I brought it up in my kiln. I was here around 8:30 this morning. And I had them coming up in my kiln. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to let you fully see it, but I did post a picture on my page. And you'll be able to see them once I roll it up. So this is around 1,000 degrees. And if the Murrinis were any bigger, that one's not on. If the Murrinis were any bigger, I would have to heat it up inside of my reheating furnace. But I'm worried because they're a little small, I don't want them to blow away. So my mom's got these torches and she's trying to maintain the heat for me while I get a bubble ready. Where's the pie divider? Oh, I got it. In order to know what size, we need to know, we got our pie divider right here. So we're taking the straight line. It divides it by 3.14, so this is the width that my bubble should be in order to be able to pick up the Murrini. So I got a nice little baby blowpipe. Maybe I'll use a bit of a bigger one. And I'm going to pick this Murrini up on a bubble. That should be this diameter in order for it to fit. So right now I've got a hollow blowpipe. Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna go get a little bit of glass from my furnace. And I want a long bubble, which is a little odd for what we normally do. That way I can pick up most of that Murrini. Maybe I'll go get just a smidge more glass. My furnace is really low right now, so it kind of makes it hard to control how much glass you want to get. When it's full, it has about 145 pounds in it. And right now I'm kind of almost scraping the bottom from this demo, which once more, I'm just grateful for. That means we've been busy today, and it's because of all of you. Gonna organize this glass, pop a bubble in it a little further away from them. Don't get the torch head so close. And so she's using just a MAP gas torch. So it's mostly propane with a little bit of air thrown in. And that's helping them stay to temperature. And hopefully getting them just a smidge hotter than what the kiln was able to get them. I'm blowing a bubble in this. And like I said, I want my bubble really long, which is a little different than what we normally do. So I kind of blew it. I'm going to cool the sides and keep blowing. I'll show you what the Murrinis look like once I roll it up. Got to do a smidge more shaping first. Gonna make this a little longer. Blow the bubble a little more. And so these techniques, it's super fun to do. They're also really challenging. When I do demos like this that are a little more challenging, I honestly try to go in with no expectations. I want them to be informative for other people. I want to have a good time, do something cool, make something fun. But honestly, sometimes I I don't even expect for them to come out. This piece, I think, will come out fine. I'm not sure how we're going to be able to pick the Murrine up, if it will be hot enough. But also, when we blow out the vessel, we'll have a lot of challenges because the Murrine is so many different colors. It's all going to want to move at different rates, which is part of the fun. I also think that if I smash it on the ground, it's more entertainment for all of you anyway, so who cares? Gonna make this a little skinnier and then I'll be ready. My bubble is almost the right size for my pickup. So I'll check my pie divider. Still a little wide, but I think I'm gonna go for it. Gonna heat it up and then roll it across all those little glass sushis and hope they stick to my bubble. Yep. So you grab a glove and try to move the plate out of the way. And not all of them are sticking, but a good amount. It looks pretty cool. 1 minute, I just want to pick up one empty spot. I'll show you all in a minute. I just want to make sure that they're sticking on there. There are a whole bunch of ways to pick one of these up. Another way, I could heat them up and kind of squish them together so that they're almost like, yeah, that's good, a plate ahead of time. Or I could have my friend Susan fuse them into a plate for me, which maybe we'll do another day with the leftovers. But here we go. We got a whole bunch of fun little vibrant pieces on here. Now the fun's just begun. Yeah, it looks like confetti. I'm really long, which is a good shape for picking the glass up, but it's not a good shape to continue working it. So I'm going to heat it up and I'm going to try to get it squat into a little ball bubble. My joke with my students is that a ball starts it all. So I've got a blow hose. Kind of heating it up a little, then convincing it to get shorter, and blowing just a smidge. I say convincing because that's the #1 mistake people make when they don't understand glass or when they're learning, is they think that they can force it. And if you're ever trying to force it, the glass gods will tell you, this material has a mind of its own. You need to figure out how it wants to move and work, and then trick it into doing what you want. So it doesn't want to get short, and if it does get short, it wants to collapse on itself. Neither of those are options for me that work. So we're getting to be a ball. Looks pretty cool. Try to suck it down a little, and I think we're going to wrap more glass around it. First, we want to make sure that it's not going to capture any bubbles, so we're going to try to heat this in a little more. Maybe we'll roll on that table that's super hot. Glass, if I get it too hot, it's going to want to kind of suck up like a raisin. But I can use that to my advantage a little bit as long as I don't let the insides touch. And I'm not sure what shape we're going to make. This kind of stuff really appreciates being left thick. I I did make a jar with my other one that I showed everybody at the beginning. But sometimes it's really cool from the inside. Maybe we'll try to make a really small, big dish. Somebody did say maybe a corn on the cob dish. It would be a real fancy corn on the cob dish, but that would be kind of funny. I think maybe that would warp the pieces a little where we pull it though. If anyone has any fun ideas, I'm down to hear. So my reheating furnace that I'm heating in right now, this runs on propane and a forced air. Out back behind the shop I have a shed that has a whole bunch of really strong fans we call blowers. So I can turn them on and they mix together with the propane that's plumbed in from outside. And that's the only way this equipment gets so hot. So I also have like a really strong fancy fan that runs my furnace, and that has to run all the time. And that's been a few of the reasons why we had to do emergency shutdowns is when the fan dies. Those fans are probably like $1,500, so they're not cheap or easy to replace. But also, when the fan dies, we have to shut the furnace down. When I shut the furnace down, it takes at least a week for it to get cold. Then I have to take the whole thing apart, change the pot, that costs around maybe $500 plus a few hundred shipping. Put it all together again, and then it takes about a good week to a week and a half for it to get hot. So the furnace is a huge deal, a huge responsibility, and a huge expense. We haven't shut down my furnace since an accidental shutdown. My blower decided it had enough of its tortured existence, and it shut down right before Valentine's Day 2019. 2020. It was a year this February. So I'm going to try to shut down this August to do repairs, switch everything out. That way we don't find ourselves in an emergency situation again. But that also means that I'll be out of work for August. Basically, managing a furnace, I call it my baby. I have a monitor camera on it that shows me its temperature, and I have it on my phone, and I get an alert on my phone when anything happens, because our whole business basically revolves around that machinery working. All right, we're gonna wrap more glass around this. First, we're gonna let it get really cold. Let's see if I can let you see it more. Looks really pretty. And once those Murrinis that I was unable to pick up cool down, I'll be able to show you those too. They look really nice. And I was really pleased to find this little stash that I had that's of the same kind of glass that's in my furnace. There's a whole bunch of different types of glass in the world. They don't mix together. In order to find out if it was the same type of glass that's in my furnace, first I did what we call a stringer test. I heated it up, mushed it together with a piece of clear glass that's from my furnace, and pulled it out long, and it didn't shatter, it didn't bend, it didn't bow, so it looked pretty good. Then I put it inside of this paperweight, really deep inside of here, and as you can see, that cooled down really nice. Nothing broke. You can put it in a polariscope, which is kind of like a little microscope, and it shows you the stress and it stayed happy. So there was a good celebration that I get to play with this Murrine in here for the demo. Extra fancy. I lied, I need a bigger block. So I'm gonna go back in the furnace and wait until this is cold. It's looking pretty cold. I'm gonna go back in the furnace, wrap some clear glass around it, and we'll keep making their shape. Bigger, please. It's kind of blown out. Yeah, that's nice. So my mom's getting me what's called a wood block. They're made out of fruit wood, usually apple or cherry. And they hang out in water all the time. When they hit the heat of the glass, it creates steam, and the steam will shape the glass. So it's all about being gentle and rolling on the steam. Small pitcher. Oh, that's a really cute idea. We haven't done one of those in a long time. Want to shut the furnace? Can you say that again? A maple syrup pitcher, yeah. Except for this glass just can't get hot. So, yeah, cold maple syrup, sure. So the one thing about this glass is it doesn't let heat. And I'm saying this and you're probably like, what are you talking about? This glass is super hot. This glass doesn't like drastic changes in temperature. Notice I said that I brought it up really slow starting this morning. Those are very little pieces, so they can survive. But say I put some hot water in my jar would very likely get all stressed out and break. So use different types of glasses depending on what the purpose is for it. In here, if we wanted to melt a harder kind of glass, my furnace would have to be even hotter, and then it would really reduce the lifespan of my furnace. And it isn't too keen to working the way that I do. So I worked soft glass, which is just the traditional style of glass. Long story short, you can't put hot water in my glass. You can't put it in the oven. You don't want to have it super cold and then stick it in the sun. But slow changes in temperature are fine. No microwave. I mean, I'll admit that I do, but only because I like to push my limits, and if it breaks, then I don't get mad at myself. But for customers, I do not recommend it, because if it breaks, it's just because you're pushing the boundaries of this material. So every kind of glass has a different COE, or coefficient of expansion. And this coefficient of expansion is 96. When it's hot, the molecules are all moving around in a really predictable way. If it cools down too fast, the molecules don't line up right, and it rejects itself, which basically means it explodes. I've done a few videos of glass popping before, but maybe we'll do that as another demo someday, because it's fun to really get it. The sad part about the glass at the bottom of my furnace is it's kind of yucky. By yucky, I mean it's got funny bubbles in it. Maybe it's got little bits of color from any of my oops moments. Maybe it's got little bits of the pipes, little bits of the metal just dropping off as we're going in, or little bits of the ceramic part of the furnace dropping in. It's kind of like I'm remixing the Kool-Aid every day. We work and I get it down pretty low, but there's still usually 20 to 40 pounds in there. And then I fill fresh glass on top of that glass, and it never fully gets emptied. I try, but I can't quite empty it. And that means there's always funny little bits floating around. There's a current inside of the pot, so usually it's moving. But when we get to the bottom, usually we're finding the yucky stuff. So while I'm just going through this process, I just want to thank you all for being here with us. If you're in New England, it's probably an absolutely gorgeous day out, and I'm honored that you're taking time from being outside to hang out in the shop with me. I actually promise you that it's definitely more pleasant of a temperature wherever you are, because today is a little reminiscent of how hot and uncomfortable it gets in here in the summertime, which is just part of the game. Also notice it's really hot in here. We have a thermometer somewhere. I bet it's at least 90 degrees in here, but I'm wearing long pants and a long sleeve shirt. That's my always attire, not because I'm modest, but because I'm protecting myself from the heat. I would rather be sweating a little extra and not burning and able to have much more control about my actions than to kind of be breezy with short sleeves or with shorts and burn myself.
95 degrees.
That's 95 degrees. See, I was wrong. That's away from the furnace. That's on the far wall. All right, Lori. Your wish is my command.
So Lori said she was actually thinking about spring flowers.
Spring flowers. A pitcher for spring flowers or a vase? Because I was on a pitcher mindset, but we can change it now. We'll work the bottom one more time while you think about it. We got a little delay on how your comments come in. We've got a computer set up, but maybe we're just maxing out the bandwidth of the New Hampshire internet or what, but the comments come in at just a smidge of a delay. But we appreciate them and we read them all. We also really appreciate when you share what we do.
Lori said a picture.
Pitcher, that's what I was just thinking too. Cool. Same page.
Pam said that she took her outside time at breakfast here at Dabbling Brook.
Ooh.
So inside watching the spring.
Pam, I have a new spot for you that you should try eating lunch on Saturday. It's near the shop, so you'll have to pack your lunch ahead of time. Hi, Ann. Ann's been checking us out every week. Ann's been checking us out every week. Stop Ann.
Yeah, a picture, and it says a spout and a handle would be good demo.
Yeah, you're right. I haven't practiced my solo handles, but we're going to do it to it. Okay.
Thanks for challenging me.
If I break it, you buy it. No, I'm just kidding. If I break it, it's more entertaining, so whatever. So I'm done with the bottom. Now I want to work the top.
It looks like beautiful leaves in there.
Yeah, the Murrine is really cool.
Yeah, it's really, really pretty.
We'll make sure to show a picture of this when it cools down. Not sure if this little bit will be up for sale or not, depending on how all this bottom of the furnace glass ends up being. But I'm making a punty, which is a solid rod with a smidgen of glass on the end. And it's going to support the weight of this piece while we continue playing with it. No. So we're putting it on the bottom in the middle the best we can. Roll around to make sure we're on center. Get some water on our neckline. And then when all goes according to plan, vibration breaks us free. Now we can heat and shape the lip of our pitcher. But this step takes a little while because I dumped a bunch of water out there. So we're gonna take some time and let the heat get that molten and moving again.
Lori says she should get dibs.
Yeah, you can get dibs if it survives. Credits to the team. So that's one of my favorite parts about working in the hot shop, is that it is a team activity. When you're working in the flame shop, maybe when you're learning, you're around your instructor and other students, and you can definitely work with others and collaborate, but it's a relatively independent activity, which is really great in some regards, where you can sit down, you don't have to rely on anyone, and you can just play to your heart's content. Here in the hot shop, you're up and moving, you're communicating with people, and it's something that's really hard to do by yourself. Oftentimes people ask me, well, when you get good enough, are you by yourself? Sure, you can be, but usually the better you get, the bigger your dreams are. And when you have big dreams, it takes a big team. So you get a lot of input, you get a lot of help. And that's one of the funnest parts, is working as a team to complete a piece. And then you have all these people to thank, and the memory of working together. Or for me, I love helping other people with their work. So maybe I'm not the gaffer like I am right now, where I own this piece. I'm assisting somebody. Like when I'm assisting Jocelyn with her feathers, or Christina with her antler. I take as much pride in helping them with their work as I do with my own, because it's so fun, and I know that they appreciate my input and my work. Speaking of working as a team, next week, Christina is going to be leading the demo. I'll still be narrating, because admittedly this is a lot of work, talking and working at the same time. So I'll be the narrator, but Christina's going to be gapping one of her antlers that she is getting ready to launch this weekend. She's been working really hard on them. I think we probably got 4 months of work in to design her large, almost life-size antlers. And now that she's finally got the design the way she wants, she's starting to load them up on our website for sale. And next Wednesday, we're going to do a demo on how she makes them. So that'll be a lot of fun. The week after that is going to be Earth Day, or the day after Earth Day. So I think I'm going to do some kind of Earth-inspired thing. Maybe put a super lady on top, because the week after that, I know I'm listening out a lot, the last week of the month, the last Wednesday, I want to have a competition where kids draw me superheroes. So if you're watching and you have a kid in your life, or you know a kid in your life, or you know a teacher, I want to have kids up through middle school draw me superheroes. I'm going to make one of them in glass. And I don't want to fully announce this and break their heart in case it breaks, but if it survives, I'm going to give it to the kid that drew it, which will be a very fun. That's inspired by Glasstastic, which is put on by the Brattleboro Museum, where kids draw creatures, and glass artists make pieces inspired by their creatures. I participated in that this year with my friends, and we made a piece called Megamello. So he was a pink marshmallowy character with wings, angel-like wings, and we've got this, and a horn, a rainbow unicorn horn. I can't forget the best part. And he was one of the largest solid pieces that I've made in the shop, and I've got the demo up on YouTube. But also if you're in the Brattleboro area, you got to make sure to go check out the exhibit, because I think there's at least 30, if not more, glass artists that all made pieces designed by kids. So if you go see Pegamello in real life, take a picture. I want to try to go over there too. Try not to be the jerk that brings my New Hampshire germs into Vermont. I'm not sure about their COVID rules, but hopefully we'll get there before the exhibit closes. Pedal on. We're gonna open this up a smidge. And off. And maybe we'll flare it a smidge. And then let's get our little spout there. This is all because Lori decided to be brave and tell me what she thought. I really, really appreciate everyone's opinions. We got a whole bunch of awesome people on our Facebook group and they give me opinions on everything. It's hard to work in a hole. You don't know what people want or what people like, or maybe I'm staring at things for too long and I can't see beyond it. So getting other people's opinions helps me become a better glass artist and business owner, as long as they're kind. Okay, I'm gonna have you take this and flash it. Just spin it for now. All right, so to make a handle, what?
Really pretty.
Don't jinx us. Flash.
Little flowers in a flower pot.
Oh yeah, it is flowers in a flower pot. And I'm getting some glass, but I want some more glass. So I'm gonna go back in again in a minute. Flash. My mom's making sure our vase doesn't get too cold and crack on us, because while that would be exciting to watch it kind of explode, that is not the goal of this demo. Okay, spout up, spout down, flip down, flip up, flip down, so a spout is kind of a hit or miss thing. If I did it too slow, I wouldn't be able to get it attached. But I got a decent attachment. Want to give me a map gas for a little bit? I don't need it immediately, in a sec. And then I'm able to stretch it a little. Where I cut is a little sharp, so I'm gonna kind of torch that. I tried to chuck it under, but it worked pretty good. Nice job pushing the limits, everybody. Go team. So I'm going to use a torch to kind of torch the inside. Make sure it's not sharp in there. Sorry, I think this torch is maybe pulling some funny sounds. Woohoo! I'll flash and show everyone. Want to move that torch? I think that it's hot. Yeah. Okay, ready?
Wow.
We got our flower pitcher.
That is really pretty.
A little So y'all look closer. Nice job with the suggestion. Force us to get out of our heads a little. Do something different. So, it's time for the dismount. I'll do it over there. I'm flashing the whole thing. I'll put a smidge of water on the punty and say a prayer to the glass gods. Then I'll come over to a little nest where I have a butter knife. The butter knife, I'm just gonna kind of tap around the bottom, say, please break here, please break here. Vibration breaks us free. Really nice. Go team, go. Then I'm gonna put some gloves on and crawl in a really hot box. Okay. So that kiln runs at 960 degrees. And it'll start cooling down. It'll be cooled by probably tomorrow evening. Thank you so much. Thanks for all your input and your suggestions and spending your time with us. We really, really appreciate you. If you like what we do, if you could just hit share, it only takes a minute and it really helps us out. But otherwise, we'll see you next week. We're going to have Christina joining us and we're going to be making an antler and it's going to be so awesome.